Hey artists, so I'm going to be showing you how you can make this beautiful nightscape that really focuses on value. Remember, value is when you take something from dark to light, and also really focuses on space. How to create space in your artwork, which remember is one of the elements of art. So to have space in your artwork, you need to have a foreground and a background, and often a middle ground too, which I guess is right here. So just to make it a landscape, you need space. So after you write your name down, the three colors I recommend you using, well, you need at least white and blue. I'm going to, for more visual interest, add some turquoise. So I'm going to get a paintbrush, and I know I'm going to use a giant paintbrush so that I can go really fast. I always like to, you're also going to need a toothbrush today. So I'll put that one aside. After you get your name on it and you have your water dish and your towel so you can swoosh, wipe, and blot, I always recommend washing your paintbrush first because you never know who washed it last. Maybe there's still a little bit of paint on it. Don't forget then to wipe it on the lip and blot it on the towel to reform it. I'm going to start in the very middle of my picture with just the white. Start light and then go dark. So my white has a little bit of mess in it, so I'm just going to try to avoid that. It's not a big deal. If a little bit of that pink gets on there, it's okay. Just make it part of your art. Okay, let me set that aside. And in the middle of my art, I'm going to go ahead and paint it white. So look closely because you don't want it just to be paper colored. And a messy mat would be a great idea for this project. I do not have one, so I will make sure that I wash the table up really well. Okay, and I'm going to paint the middle-ish chunk. Okay, now my brush, I'm gonna leave it just kind of dirty, but when I dip it in the paint, I'm not gonna mix it, so it's not gonna get in there. So I'm gonna go to the medium color, which is the teal, wipe it on the lip so it doesn't drip. And then it doesn't matter if you start at the top or the bottom, but I'm gonna start a little ways away from my white, and I've dragged it up so that it can blend in with my wet white paint. You kind of have to work while the painting is wet. And then I can go again, starting sort of down a little bit and working down. My goal is to try to blend the colors to create some value, to create a gradient is another way to say that. If I have too much blue paint on my brush and I go too much into my white, then my white will definitely turn blue. Okay, and I can go ahead and get the darkest blue, start at the bottom, because there's a lot of paint on your brush. Don't start where the colors meet. Start a little bit away from the color, go back and forth, and you can drag it up. If you have to get a little more on your brush, no big deal, but do it while it's wet. Which means, let me finish this up again, that, let me blend it here again, or I just take it back and forth where the two colors meet, that right now I do need to wash my brush, and I see a hair coming off a bristle, so I'm going to pull that out. Swoosh, don't splash. I just splashed a little bit. Really make sure it's washed. Wipe it on the lip, blot it on the towel, and then back, I'm going to start back at the white. And I'm going to put white again because I don't know if it just dried or not, and I need it to be a little damp. Go onto the turquoise, go a little ways up, not where the white directly ends, and see if you can pull it down into the white. It'll start blending with the leftover white that's already on your brush. Blending is something that you do with practice, okay? So that worked out really well. Go ahead, I'm going to dip it all the way in the darkest blue. Start at the top, just like I start all the way at the bottom when I'm working with the darkest blue. My strokes go all the way across the paper, and you might have noticed I'm not using a very large paper. I love the way this painting turns out. It's got lots of different parts too. Okay guys, So I'm done with that part. And the other part I'm going to add today, this is a 2-part art project. I'm going to use my toothbrush, and can you tell me what I'm going to do with it? I bet you knew. I'm going to add stars. So to add the stars, I'm going to get the toothbrush just a little bit damp, still blotted on the towel. I'm going to take the toothbrush and get just a tiny amount of white paint. Do not get too much, because too much makes like strings of splatter. And I just have it at the end, that's no problem. When you are making stars, start with your index finger, or hold it with one hand, use your index finger another, and I'm gonna brush my finger across really fast, but facing my paper, of course. So if you get some big stars like I just did, no problem. And I even have it in what's gonna turn into the water. That's also no problem. It'll be the reflection. Okay, guys, so I'm ready to clean up, because that's as far as I'm gonna get for the day. And gosh, I got splatter all over this, no problem. Put this on the drying rack, and I can't wait to finish this project in the next art class with you. Happy arting today.